All right, guys, welcome back to Watch Trading Academy. Joining me again, this guy does not want to leave. He should literally get a room here so he can just come down every few months after he's made another 250K. Joining me again is Wilson for now his 500K club award.
500.
Congrats, man. This is a big deal. Like, you know, that when I first saw you, you were doing like 100K. You were like, this is surreal. Like, it's crazy. Like, watches make money. $500,000 in a rolling 12 months. That's pretty exciting, right?
Very exciting.
We agree to that?
Yeah, 100%.
So did you ever imagine you could get this far with watches when you started? Like, was this like kind of like, what the fuck kind of?
It was definitely a goal, but it's, it felt a little bit unreachable. Yeah. Cause I was, still at the 100K. I'm like, how am I going to 5X this? Or I guess it was more of a time thing, right? Like when would I be able to 5X this? But I didn't think that I would get here this fast.
Okay. And I did, because I told you at the 100 to 250, the rate of increase.
Yeah.
Like the momentum picks up momentum, and then the returns and the return customers and all this stuff, and it just keeps growing at an exponential rate, right?
It does.
So 250, how long was that? Like 6 months ago you were here?
Just
when
about,
was in February?
Yeah,
7 months ago you were here. I think you had past reached it, but we had done the interview a little bit late.
Exactly.
So $500,000 is an average of like $40,000 a month, which in my opinion, $40,000 a month is the beginning of financial freedom, where you're not bound by the conventional rules of society and thinking. Is this the first time a venture has made this kind of profit for you, or has this always been kind of like the norm? Not just watch trading, I'm saying in whatever else you were doing.
Not the first time. This is my fourth venture now that has done like this revenue.
Like this dollar range of revenue.
Yeah.
So are these other ventures happening at the same time now, or are they just past ventures?
3 of them are happening at the same time right now.
Okay. Yeah. So you're making a lot of money now.
Oh yeah, I mean,
between all of them is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's profits for the company, right? So
What industries are your other ventures?
One of them is a marketing agency, and one of them is a car dealership.
Okay, so you're in the car business, like in the conventional buying and selling of cars.
Yeah.
And then you're in the marketing business, and then now in the watch business.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about what's the difference in business model between the three?
Yeah, I would say.
Which one's the coolest? Which one's the not coolest? Like what's
definitely watches is the coolest, especially luxury timepieces specifically, right? Because in the car business, we're just doing older Lexus and Toyotas that we get from auction. They have 100, 200,000 miles, and our customer is just not the wealthier customer like it is for timepieces. Yeah. Also, like if we were to broker any cars or find any, it costs $2,000-$3,000 to ship it across the country, whereas for a watch, it's $100, $200 to ship it. So much more accessible and easy to move.
So easier business on the watch side. What about the marketing agency? Because I figure those type of things are very digital, right?
Yeah. Marketing agency is very good. You do have to figure out how to automate, right? I think a lot of people in the agency space, they always say simplify to multiply is what a lot of them live by. And once you get that down and create a recurring revenue model, then it can be something really, really good.
So let's talk about revenue model / recurring business and things like that in the watch game.
Yeah.
To go from 250 to 500, you need recurring customers. You need new customers coming, but you also need existing customers coming back and trading watches and wanting to buy new stuff.
Yeah.
How much of your business is repeat clients at this rate versus brand new clients that you've never dealt with?
Yeah. If I were to put a number on it, about like 35% are repeat clients.
Like they come back for more than one watch.
Yeah,
so
they come back. They keep trading in what they just bought. Happens a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of repeat.
So let's talk a little bit about process and kind of drive of time spent, et cetera. You said at the beginning of this interview before we were live on air here that it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the processes you put in place since 250 to get to 500. What has changed in the way you do business? What has changed in the business model?
Yeah. At 250, I had, I would say, a pretty solid process, one that worked end to end from sourcing a watch all the way to selling a watch. And I was doing that with myself and like one person. Now at 500, we've added 4 more people in the office, and we're continuing to improve the processes every single day. Yeah.
Okay. So you've hired staff now to basically you've hired more staff. I think you had just started hiring staff at 250, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay. How much staff do you have now?
Yeah, we have 5 in the office total. And then VAs in the Philippines, we have 18.
Are these people all working on the watch business, or they're kind of spread between all the businesses?
Some of the people in the Philippines are spread between the agency and this watch business, but in the office, it's all watches.
So talk to me about this virtual assistants, because this is something that has been coming up more and more with some of our other members who have said they found a great virtual assistant and it's helped them a lot. Tell me a little bit about how do you use virtual assistants in your business? You know, like what part do they help with? What are they doing?
Yeah, basically anything that doesn't require touching a watch. So like photo shoots can't be done, right? Because you need the watch in hand. Videos can't be done. But all the editing and stuff that can be done without touching a watch, everyone overseas in the Philippines handles that.
Editing, you mean like photo editing?
Photo editing, video editing, posting to different platforms, creating invoices. Yeah, anything that doesn't require touching a watch.
So something that's actually funny is one of the core complaints people have when they think about using virtual assistants, et cetera, is they will say things like, well, what if I give them access to my Instagram account?
Okay.
And they change the admin password or something, and I'm locked out of my own account. Yeah. How do you kind of prevent or put guardrails in place to enable people to help you without jeopardizing, the larger ecosystem of what you built? Especially, I mean, now it's probably more relevant than it was maybe at the beginning. Like, you're at the beginning, you're selling 2 watches. Who cares? You're starting your Instagram.
Yeah.
But you're making constant money. People follow you on that platform. They purchase from seeing you post on that platform, et cetera. So like, how do you avoid that? Like, if how do you make sure that these people aren't ripping you off? Like,
no, that's definitely true, right? Like every single person I bring in, I have to do my best to vet them, just like any customer as well. But a lot of guardrails that I put in place, we do have like a password sharing software where we have like 20 plus users on there, and they just click one button, brings them to a site and fills in the login for them, so they don't have to know the password.
So they don't know how to log in. Basically, that's an interesting thing. I didn't know.
So they have to have their own password to get into the password.
Right, exactly. But
then it has.
But then you don't have the password. They can access the Instagram or whatever that is.
Exactly.
What is that software called?
It's called Zoho Vault.
Zoho Vault. Okay, something good people maybe can use that are confused about that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to do business. Not something that I had heard about. Always good to see tips like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people that have gone from 250 to 500 have started to expand their reach outside of Chrono24 and eBay. What are the places that you have found more success with now compared to the earlier stages of watch trading?
Yeah. I would say the most successful, highest converting are my own platforms, like my own website, my own Instagram. Just definitely easier to do to do the business direct rather than dealing with platforms and a lot of red tape with the platforms as well.
Are you running ads to your own website? Is that what you mean by, like, how do people find your website? Obviously, if it's not on eBay.
Yeah, you know what? I took a look at all my website stats, and most of the traffic coming to my website are people searching my brand name. And when I get messages on my website or people filling out inquiry forms, they always say like, hey, I found this watch in Chrono24, but I decided to reach out on your website instead.
Because they saw your dealer profile on Chrono24.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So like, hey, I'm going to reach out on your website so that we can both save money.
So are you still finding Chrono24 or eBay like the place where people find you the most, or where?
I would say so. I would say that's like where like the journey usually starts for most of my customers. And then, they might go to my Instagram and do their research on me later as well.
Okay. Yeah. How much have you leveraged personal social media in terms of like just posting, not paid ads or anything?
Yeah.
Like, has that worked out well for your business?
I haven't tried that. I was doing like traditional marketing funnel advertising in the beginning, where I would drive traffic to a landing page on my website. The form would be like, hey, what timepiece are you interested in? Fill in your name and phone number and all that stuff. That didn't really work out too well in terms of return on investment. So I would say the number one generator still is, listings on Chrono24 eBay. And if people happen to find my website after that, then they would inquire on the website as well.
What was the highest ROI you've ever had, not on a watch, but on something you've used to grow your business? What is the best tool you've used yet?
Well, I mean, this one's infinite, right? It's word of mouth for sure. Word of mouth, repeat, or referral for sure.
Do you incentivize your customers to do that? Like, is there a process to that?
Yeah, I do have a process. I never incentivize though, right? As I've learned from you and most other, 250, 500 million club people, it's all about trust is number one currency in this business, and relationship follows that trust, right? So, like in my CRM, I do have a couple of stages on my sales pipeline that goes even further than them purchasing or them receiving the watch, right? Like the stages after that is, ask for review, committed to review, or actually wrote a public review. And in all those stages, my salespeople know to continue conversing with their clients, and just making sure, like, hey, like showing off their own watches that they're wearing, asking their clients what they're wearing for the day, showing off cars that they see around, and just maintaining that relationship.
It's funny you said that. You said something here about trust being the best currency, the most important currency. Yeah. I know that. You know that, being in the business now.
Yeah.
We asked other individuals over the last couple of days who have come here for their interview for 500, 250, etc. Mm-hmm. What are at which point, or how do you put so much emphasis on reviews? Or do you have a way to, do you have a process you can share about how you kind of push your clients to leaving reviews? Is there something you do that maybe people can literally put in place by listening to this interview, because we know that that's one form of getting more popularity or more trust?
Yeah. I would say, basically from the stages of you shipping the watch and your customer receiving the watch, you do have to be proactive with tracking that. And when you see that it says delivered and they haven't texted you back yet or called you first, you always want to text them and say, like, hey, I saw the package got delivered. And what you're really fishing for is a picture of the watch on your customer's wrist. And that is basically the permission for me to say, like, hey, is it cool if you use that picture in a Google review for my business? And I would say like that converts 50% of the time.
That's actually a really interesting thing. So you ask them for a picture of the watch on their wrist when they receive the watch.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've done this for like 15 years. I'm just curious as to why you do it. Is it just for the review?
No, it's not just for the review. I think it just started happening naturally. A lot of people just like start sending it on their own. And then like that kind of activated something in my brain where I was like, you know what, like I can stretch this conversation, right? I can turn this into reaching millions of people knowing that, I have 5-star service. So it started as just an accident first, and then I just, kept trying it over and over again, and I implemented it as an actual process in the company now.
Interesting. So, this is a really good tip for those of you that are watching something like this for the first time, to implement asking people who receive their watches and to just send you a picture once they receive them of them wearing them. There's a couple of reasons I've personally done that. It's also the security of basically knowing the package was delivered and getting proof in case in the future the mind changes.
Definitely.
Someone's like, I never got that watch, and it's like, oh, I thought you received it, and it's like, you just proved you received it, right? Like you have it there. It also shows the condition of the watch at the time of receipt, so that's there as well. Yeah. And then, like he said, he's stretching this even further now by leveraging this to get a review or a conversation to continue past the receive, the transaction's done, have a good day, we're out of here. So a really good tip. I think the first time we've kind of really dug deeper into that, and the virtual assistant thing, if you haven't heard it earlier with the software, I think these two tips alone are worth this interview here, because these are two applicable concepts for those of you that are 100K wanting to go to 500K that you can put in place. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about where you take the business from here.
Yeah.
I mean, 500K is an excellent starting point. I would argue having that many people to get to 500K is not like a lot. Doesn't that cut into the bottom line a lot?
It does, definitely. I mean, right now we're doing more towards 100K a month. So it is.
So it's scaled more than that.
Definitely. And, obviously every company goes through growing pains as well. As you scale with more people, well, first of all, you have to find people in office you can trust to handle these watches. But even further than that, it's, you're just like you said, you have to set guardrails in place for every single person, whether it be a VA or someone in office, and do your best to make sure that, they do what they're supposed to do.
Where are you getting, why are you so heavy on salespeople for the size of, because that's something you can easily do, 40K is 15, 20 watches.
Yeah.
What's your volume per month?
Yeah. Number of watches?
Yeah.
We're doing 50 to 60 watches per month.
Okay. Yeah. So are you doing mainly 3? What's the average ticket for a watch?
Around 2,000.
So you're doing cheaper watches.
Oh, you mean
Meaning how much?
the value?
Yeah,
of a
the
watch.
value of a watch.
Oh, anywhere from 20 to 200K.
Is that the majority of your watches or what? 20, 30, 40?
I would say majority is like 60K. Yeah.
So 60, 50, 60K, that range in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So range in the middle, 50, 60K is where your money's at, you know, like for the majority of your watches.
Yeah.
And why have so many salespeople? Tell me about the thought process about this.
Well, they're not just salespeople. They do anything that requires handling a watch, right? So they do all the photo shoots as well. We have a process where every single watch that comes in, we video it coming out of the FedEx box. Number one, that serves as protection for ourselves in case.
Like an intake process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't come as expected, we have video proof of it coming out of the FedEx box. And I also do that to stretch that even more. I feed that video to a video editing team in the Philippines, and they create YouTube and Instagram content out of it.
Like unveil box kind of thing, right? Like
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're doing the intake, they're doing the photos, then they're handing it off to the Philippines. They're actually helping me manage the Philippines team too, so I don't have to do it myself. And they're selling the watch. My concept behind that whole thing is like you have to know the watch and handle the watch before you can sell it pretty well. And sell it over and over again as well.
How much capital do you now have infused in the watch trading operation?
Yeah, a little over $1 million now.
Do you find that that's enough capital, or do you find yourself still doing a lot of broker deals?
I'm still doing a good amount of broker deals. I would say no amount of capital is ever enough capital. I would say, especially with these repeat clients coming back in and offering watches on trade. Right, which means that you're not getting the full cash amount back. So I don't think any amount of capital is going to be enough. I think that as I grow the team with more traders in the office, that I'm going to just need more and more capital.
Have you ever raised external capital, or are you still bootstrapping and self-funding?
I'm still bootstrapping and self-funding. I'm still moving from other businesses as well.
Right, like as you make money elsewhere. And putting more into inventory.
Yeah.
What has been the largest loss you've taken on a watch? Like the biggest mistake you've made?
Oh. It was recently, actually. It was on a James Cameron Deep Sea. I lost $1,000 on that.
Okay, tell me why did that happen? I mean, that seems like a very basic watch too, no?
Okay, so this is what happened. Someone wanted a James Cameron Deep Sea from me. For most of you that don't know that watch that well, there's a Mark 1 dial and a Mark 2 dial. The pictures that he showed us that he wanted was the Mark 2 dial. It has 4 lines of text. Doesn't say Sea Dweller on there. The one that my team ended up sourcing had the Mark 1 dial that said Sea Dweller. And so like something happened with that deal and we had to like return that watch. Then it took forever to try to find the Mark 2 dial. And when we did find it, the customer was putting pressure on us. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to fill this order no matter what the loss is and just get it done because no amount of money is worth this guy's unhappiness. Yeah, so that's what happened.
So it was more of a, like, you guys made a mistake than it was, just a...
In the beginning, yeah, mistake. But also, like, at the very end, right, like, we should have charged the guy. This is, like, I guess another mistake. We should have charged the client the amount of what a brand new version of that watch would be, right? Because we would source whatever for him.
So you undersold it ultimately.
Yeah.
Like you undersold what the cost of the watch would have been to begin with. So you didn't really build a margin in there.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. I know we're short on time. So what is the piece of advice you have, not for new WTA members at this point, but rather 250K members who want to be 500?
Yeah.
If you want to give maybe one piece of advice you think people should take back from your experience, that how did it become 500?
Yeah, from 250 to 500, I would say be relentless when it comes to documenting your processes and improving your processes. Ultimately, like all the checklists and SOPs that you make are not only for people you may bring on, but for yourself as well. Because, even to this day, I still might make one small mistake here and there. Or when I'm training someone else, I might forget to say one thing or another thing. So being relentless on your processes is very important, especially at this stage of any company that you're running, just because consistency really is key at this stage.
I think there was a lot of good spots in this interview. I want to bring it back to, he had some processes we hadn't heard about before. He's brought up the VAs before, but the software you guys can use to safely do that, very important. So lots of good opportunities here with what Wilson's doing. I think he's going to be $1 million club just on the sheer basis that he's investing in his infrastructure, something we don't hear a lot of 500K club members do. They just always say, I'm going to scale up, but they don't really talk about like spending money in, like, in a store, in this and that, and putting people in place. So I think we're going to see him, at that $1 million mark next. So it's going to be exciting to see how quickly before he gets there.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, for everybody else watching, just again, remember, as I always say, who will be next? If he can do it, so can you. All you need to do is just put in the effort. So we appreciate you watching. Congratulations again on a milestone again, right?
Thank you, yes.
And we'll catch you guys next time for Watch Trading Academy.